everyone, thanks for tuning in. My name is Brian, core design engineer for Brunswick Bowling. I can't believe I'm saying this, but welcome to 2024. I hope everyone had a safe and fun holiday season, and we're here now to talk about the new core technology that's coming your way for Brunswick in the 2024 calendar year. Now, of course, I can't get into all the new releases that haven't been announced just yet, but what I can do is talk about this brand new Troublemaker Pearl, a ball that really kind of caught the industry's eye when it came out in the original Troublemaker. That was a sanded hybrid. That was about 8 or 9 months ago, but I was never able to do a video series that was detailing the intricacies of this new Troublemaker core called the Dualistic core, just because I had a lot going on with this project and the other projects behind the scenes for the core development for a couple of the brands. And as you know, this is the first core that was developed specifically for no-thumb two-handed bowlers in mind. In other words, this core has very specific features that help the bowlers get the widest range of possible drilling options after drilling once they put just the fingers and no thumb hole into this ball. Now we're going to detail this in a 3-part video essay style series. This first part is going to just talk about the core shape in general, the relative development process, and the general features of this core. The second part is going to do a deep dive into the layout selection options that are available to you in this core and what options that you should be using for the type of ball motion that you're trying to achieve. And then the final leg of this series is going to be detailing the layout converter that's available to you by QR code and also on the website DV8bowling.com under the Troublemaker or Troublemaker Pearl links, where you can find the resources and information you need to properly lay out this ball for your playing style and for the desired motion reaction shape that you're looking for as a no-thumb bowler. Now, of course, thumb-in players can use this core design with relative success, and a lot of people had success with the original Troublemaker as a hybrid. And this new HK22 Troublemaker Pearl is going to be no exception to that success as well. We've simply taken the core tech that took us months and months of development on top of our normal development cycle to come up with, and we've added our best base cover, the HK22 base cover, so that in combination with the Insider Pearl additive package, you've got a ball that is certainly cleaner and sharper off the spot and doesn't quit down lane. It's a really good option for when your original Troublemaker is a little too early or too blendy, or if you bowl on just a little less volume overall and you want to see a little more push and change of direction. Now, of course, everything about the Troublemaker, from the core to the cover stock, is built with no-thumb bowlers in mind. So as an undrilled ball, this core is relatively moderate differential, moderate RG, so you're not going to get the longest, strongest, sharpest ball motion that you've ever seen when we put HK on the cover of this ball, but you are going to get a noticeably cleaner and sharper change of direction than the original Troublemaker, but a reaction that is still very controllable so that we can keep the two-handed players, the no-thumb players, in play with a good sharp changing ball, but one that isn't sideways or crazy or out of control for them. So that's what you're going to get when you see this pairing of combinations. So now that we got the information about the new cover stock out of the way, we're going to take a deep dive into this core design. And we're going to start by just looking at the general shape and ideology about this inner core. The first thing that you'll notice about this Dualistic inner core when you look at it is that it is massive. It's over 100 cubic inches in volume. That is definitely the largest DV8 core to date, and it's also probably the largest core in Brunswick's history, or at least in the history of the modern game of bowling. It's an absolutely massive core. And if you compare that to a core, say the Verge core, which is another strong symmetric in the DV8 lineup, that core is about, the Dualistic core is about 1 1/3 times the volume of that core. So this one is huge. And there's a method to the madness with the size of this core too. When you drill just the fingers in as a no-thumb player, you aren't removing as much mass as you would if you had a real deep thumb hole like most thumb-in players do. So we had to press the mass of the inner body to the outside of the shell, as close as we could get to the shell of the ball, so that when you drill into it, you're moving mass and you're changing the numbers in a significant way. So let's take a closer look at the features of this core, starting at the top, where we have a top knob that is very close to the shell of the ball. If you drill into this, you're going to drive the differential down and have a smoother, less flaring ball overall. In the midband of this core, in the area between the side of the core and the top of the core, you've effectively got a functional void. We've been calling this the bowl of the core, where if you drill the fingers, you're going to hit mostly compound and you're going to leave a lot of core material intact. This is a relatively neutral position for your fingers to be drilled. This is going to give you moderate flare potential and moderate overall reaction. This is going to be a more benchmark layout situation for you if you drill your fingers in this area. And then you have the ability to drill your fingers into the side of this core if you'd like to. You see that the band of this core sticks out really close to the shell. You're going to hit that with the drill bit almost immediately. You're going to remove a lot of mass, making this core relatively tall compared to its height. This is going to maximize the flare potential, increase the intermediate diff a ton, and it's going to give you a very strong reacting and relatively sharp motion for a symmetrical ball. In fact, in some layouts, then we'll get into the specifics of the layouts later, but in some layouts, you're going to be able to make this ball as strong and asymmetric as any of the strong pro performance balls in any asymmetrical lineup. So the way that this ball shapeshifts from a smooth, relatively weak symmetrical ball into an incredibly strong asymmetrical ball with some sharp characteristics is the reason that we called it the dualistic core. So as you can tell, paying attention to how and where you're laying out your fingers and what part of the core that they're intersecting is key to getting the most performance out of this Troublemaker Pearl. And we know that no thumb and two-handed bowling is certainly a worldwide movement, one that's starting with the youth generation. So what we've done is we've made an entirely different dualistic core, the dualistic lightweight core that's in our 12 and 13 pound Troublemaker and Troublemaker Pearl. This way, you guys as younger players who aren't maybe ready to graduate up into the higher weights like the 14 through 16 pounds and use the full-size core can still take advantage of some of the key characteristics of the dualistic core in the lighter weight version. So you can see the exact same features scaled just a little differently to fit with the volume and size that we needed to make it a lightweight ball. And you're going to get not 100% of the same after drilling numbers, but you're going to get extremely close for a lightweight ball using the same layouts as the heavyweight balls using this lightweight dualistic core. As I mentioned in the beginning, this is going to be a 3-part series, so I hope you found this intro into the dualistic core and its design features enticing. I hope you'll tune into part 2 of my video series where we're going to detail all of the layout information for your Troublemaker. We're going to talk about what removing mass does to the post-drilled numbers and how you're going to achieve different motions with different finger hole locations when you drill into this dualistic core. So make sure you look for part 2 of the Troublemaker series coming up in a couple days.